Hi, everyone, and welcome to Heart and Soul Connected. My name is Allie, and I'm pleased to be here with you today to talk about the secrets of the Akashic Records. And so I'm sure all of you have heard of the Akashic Records, and in fact, some of you have even had readings of your Akashic Records. But I want to just give a little more clarity as to what it is and how it can be done and that sort of thing. I also want to make you aware that I am an Akashic Records reader. And so if you're interested in having your Akashic Records read, reach out to me at heartandsoulconnected@gmail.com. And we can talk about a time where I can do that for you. So the Akashic Records have been called the Library of Souls. And it isn't a real library, even though many of us envision it to be that. But it really is just a place that holds everything. It's a repository that holds everything that has ever happened since the beginning of time, and especially personal time. It will cover everything that's happened in our world as well. But as far as your records go, it would be any time you've incarnated here as a soul, whether it be on Earth, on another planet. And it records those experiences from the simple to the more complex. And we are able to reach out and tap into your Akashic Records in order to get messages and tell you about what past life you may have had that may be influencing the one you're in now, or that shows why you're interested in certain things that you're always been drawn to. I have found also that it's very wonderful to be able to tap into the collective Akashic Records readings. And my teacher, Val Klingenbeck from Dragonfly Crystals and Next Level Channeling, she and I, every 2 weeks, one of us asks the questions and one of us channels the answers from the Akashic Records for collective questions. So it would be anything that you would think that purposes of war, or purposes of people's lives, other people's lives, or the planet, or living on another planet. And we've done this now for probably 2 or 3 months, and it is usually on my channel and or Dragonfly Crystals channel, Val's, and we have that information up if you're interested in watching that. It's a lot of interesting chat, but we don't take personal questions in that particular show. So if you're curious about the mysteries of the universe and the journey of the soul in general, that would be the show to watch. If you're interested in more personal, there are readers that do them throughout the week on their channels. You can find them. They would only be able to answer, a very short, brief reply. If you have a more detailed Akashic Records reading, you can get more into what it is that you would like to ascertain about those past lives, or why you're here on this planet, why you picked your parents, all those things. Okay, thank you. So one of the biggest misconceptions about the Akashic Records is that there's some kind of ancient, inaccessible database that's off limit to most people. It's not true. You too can learn how to read your own Akashic Records or the Akashic Records of others. And if you reach out to me and ask about it, I can put you in touch with when the classes are held, which are usually 3 to 4 times a year, via Zoom. So, very reasonably priced. And usually when you walk out of there, you have a little bit of clarity. And then with practice, you get more. So, I just wanted you to know that those resources are definitely here on YouTube. The records also are more about intention and resonance than it is about being a spiritual elite. In other words, there's a lot of people who really truly believe they can't do cards, they can't do mediumship, they can't do channeling, they can't do Akashic Records because they didn't do it up until now. But the truth is, if you want to be doing something and you want confirmation, then you should look into these specific tools in order to accomplish that. And at the very least, even if you don't feel comfortable either reading your own or someone else's, you get the understanding of how it works and what can be accessed. And those are just simply more tools for your toolbox. So the real challenge many of us face isn't getting the access, but quieting our minds and being open to the spiritual insights that come through. And because I'm not always a visual person, when I do the Akashic Records, after I open them and settle in, get the questions, I leave my eyes shut. And that stops me from any outside influence that may be around me. Now, some people don't need to do that. Everybody's different. And everybody gets their information from different clairs. And those clairs can be clairvoyance, clairaudience, claircognizance, all different kinds of clairs, and they're CLAIRES. And go to Google. Google can be your friend. It can tell you all about them. So the Akashic Records are never, ever, ever about judgment. If you get a reading and someone says to you, well, I don't know why you were stupid to do that, or you should never have done that, then that's not a true Akashic Records reading. An Akashic Records reading is trying to offer understanding and growth, and they are a tool for self-discovery only, looking into our motivations, desires, and the spiritual lessons that we learned in other lifetimes or want to learn in this one. And while it's true that some of the information could be fairly surprising or even challenging to confront, it's always presented in a way that promotes healing and transformation, not in a way that's judgmental. These things should always be uppermost in one's mind, whether getting an Akashic Records reading or a regular reading. If someone is judging you or, making you feel uncomfortable about something that's being said or seen. And I don't mean, for instance, if you ask a question about a situation that you may have had, and then it's determined that you were abused or you were, that's not judging it. That's just bringing through the information, but it's only providing the information. So, you may feel uncomfortable with a revelation like that, but it's presented in a way that is not blaming, is not trying to make you feel small. And if it does, you need to find someone that does not do that, because that's simply not the way spiritual readings work. And the same thing with any readings that you have with cards or with psychics. Really, it's quite important to realize that. So what do the Akashic Records entail? Well, they're a vibrational record of every event, thought, and emotion that has ever occurred. And it's amazing. This includes your life, my life, and everyone else's life, all the way back to the beginning of time and the beginning of planetary time. So it's not just, you may get a record reading that says you lived on Orion's belt or you lived on Pluto. Whatever it is, it's your journey or the journey of the souls who have lived before us, kept in record form, because nothing is too small for the Akashic Records. Doesn't mean you're always going to be able to access the small stuff, but it does mean that you have an ability to extend it out over time and get a bigger picture. Accessing them involves a practice of meditation or prayer, setting an intention to connect with the higher source of knowledge and your Akashic Records guides. The insights can be life-changing and reveal patterns that we've been repeating, soulmates we've had or significant relationships, and also life themes that we are here to explore. So you can't remember what your soul contract is. The Akashic Records does. They're there to help you, okay? The types of secrets or insights they can reveal are vast. Some people find guidance on their life's purpose, while others uncover hidden fears or desires that may have been holding them back. I've even heard of people discovering talents or abilities they never knew they had, and they found out when they were accessing either their own or having someone access their Akashic Records. For myself, the first Akashic Records reading, and not to be confused with past life readings, because that's a little bit different, although I think you could probably mesh those two together. But I think a past life reading really is a focus more, where the Akashic Records readings gives you a lot of general information about what that life entailed. So one of the first ones I had, I asked them, why am I so deathly afraid of fish? And I am. I still am working through it. There, some people are afraid of dogs and snakes, and everybody that's been on my channel for a long time knows I don't like fish. Their eyes and their mouths bother me. So it could be I might have had a past life in a place that people look that way, or I may have drowned and seen all kinds of fish all around me. And in truth, I have more than once drowned or been left behind on a boat that ended up, I died. So that at least gives me clarity that I'm not the weirdo that I think I am, as much as some other people may think. But you can ask questions like, what lifetime it has heavily influenced this lifetime with regard to my career, with regard to my love life, with regard to why I am so sensitive and I get hurt easily. I mean, it can be a combination of any questions that you'd like. Sometimes people say, ask the Akashic Records masters, how many lives have I lived? And you'd be surprised that there's many that have lived thousands and thousands of them, because time is pretty old. So one powerful insight also could be understanding your current challenges as reflections of deeper level soul patterns. So let's say, for instance, you come back and you have a partner who is not one that treats you well. And you may have had a relationship with them in the past, and you find that you're the one that didn't treat them well, and you've come back here to resolve that issue. You may go back and find that you were, I know a lot of women and men in particular have found out that in the past they were burned at the stake as a witch. And so this type of spiritual information scares them because they're afraid that that will out them again. So there are things that we can find out. Or why do we hate eggplant? It can be something very, very easy. So we sometimes carry patterns of self-doubt that follow us through multiple lifetimes. And so what can happen is, once you know it, you can release it. You can ask the Akashic Records masters to come in and heal it, and you can work on the release of it. And it may take a few times, but the ability to release it is there and available to you, either by the person that's reading for you or you yourself, if you're reading for yourself and you get that message. So it's important to know. And this can be an incredibly freeing feeling, because you're being offered this clarity and allowing yourself to look at life in a much different lens. The transformative power of the Akashic Records lies in their ability to show us also that we are not victims of circumstance, but rather participants in our life's journey. I know that when I brought up the soul contracts that we make, we are the ones that determine the soul contracts that we make. And so some of us are like, I'm not doing that again. A lot of us are here because we soul contracted to come back with a group of people that we have worked with before, at a time when planetary healing was so needed, and we needed to be able to ascend to a higher level vibration. But there's even more mundane things that maybe other people may not consider that important. Or you find out and you go, all my life I wondered why I was afraid of this, why I didn't like this place, why I didn't get along with my brother. Whatever it is, it's quite interesting. By gaining insight into our own records, we can make more informed choices this time too. Doesn't matter how old you are, always can change things. And one that aligns with your higher purpose and living your life you were meant to. So working through the Akashic Records can be a catalyst for profound personal growth. And in my own life, I had attended a Akashic Records class with Valerie, and I didn't resonate as much with it as many others did. And many others took right off with it and started doing Akashic Records readings. When all of a sudden, one day, I decided I was getting messages and I was trying to figure out where they were coming from. Some of them were channeled in and some of them were from the Akashic Records. And I recognized everybody has this. And whether you want to choose to use it or not is totally up to you. And I was ready at that point to receive it and learn from it and help others with it. Countless others have similar experiences also, finding guidance, healing, and a deep sense of connection to the universe. It also helps us if we're having any kind of existential dread, like, is this just a random life that we're living, or does this life have meaning? And then we find out, yes, it surely does. And it also ties meaning in with other lifetimes that we have lived. So if you've enjoyed this little dive into the Akashic Records and you want more information about it, please reach out to me, as I indicated, at heartandsoulconnected@gmail.com. Come to one of the Akashic Records. It's usually 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 o'clock on a Tuesday every other week, either on my channel or on Dragonfly Crystal's channel. And see what you like, see what you hear what you see, learn about it, and grow. And if you have a community question you'd like to ask in that venue, that you'd like to know about, it would be wonderful to have you ask in the chat. We have a very, very good chat and lots of wonderful chatters all there to help. So thank you again. You have a most beautiful day. Bye now.